Hello and welcome to MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live. KKR have managed to keep their hopes alive in this IPL. Congratulations, Joyda. They won this game against Kings 11 Punjab. You seem really happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. They're in the chase still, and whoever this was, a virtual eliminator, and KKR stayed in the race. And they were the better team for the day. More importantly, I was delighted to see Shubman Gill score so much in his home ground.
Wow.
What a superb innings.
He really did look at home, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just in terms of being in the ground, but also in that opening spot. He's been doing pretty well. What, 350s in 4 games?
Yeah, it seems like they're fine. What have they been doing, the management? Why hasn't he been at the top of the order for the whole tournament? When they perform like this, I think you, as a KKR fan, they must be sitting there thinking, what is wrong with our boys? How easily have we won these 2 games? How nicely have we played?
Yeah.
What happened in those 6 games that we lost? What was going on? And the one common denominator is that they've got Gill at the top of the order and twice they've won. I've been really impressed by him. I think he's a real find for India. I love his technique. He stands in a strong position. And batting at 6-7, 4-6, and then got him at 2 and he got 65. They weren't convinced, so they pushed him back to 7. And then 3-3, and obviously 3 is not his spot, but then they got him back to opening. But it's that number 1 spot where he's fired on all cylinders, 76 and 65, not out.
It seems to be working, but earlier we were talking about how KKR has problems among themselves. It at least appears to be that way. At the end of a performance like this, what do you think they're telling each other?
No, I'll tell you what, if you will have problems, even good teams have problems, bad teams have problems. The thing is that when you're winning, a lot of that goes out, because the winning has a huge wave of emotion goes through the team, things happen. When you lose, you fight more with each other, things start coming out in the open. When you win, everything seems fine and people put their differences aside because, really at the end of the day, every athlete, the one thing he really wants to do is win. He wants to be on that winning side. It's a horrible thing not a horrible thing, but it's tough to lose matches. And after losing 6 in a row, when you win 2 in a row, you think you've given yourself a chance.
Yeah.
So, there's not to say that there are not problems with KKR, but it's much easier to face this problem when you're winning than when you're not winning. And secondly, you've solved one problem which you have definitely had, which is the opening order problem. Your opening runs were not giving. So those guys are now giving you runs. Now if they solve that other problem, which is the fact that their bowlers are not doing anything, maybe they'll be to a decent side.
But I think victories just don't get teams together. It also gets cities together. Tomorrow, Bengaluru, Kolkata, 2 people in our studio, you and Abhideep. All of you are going to be cheering for RCB to win, right?
Absolutely. The most important thing is given the run rate. You saw how Kolkata chased today.
Yeah.
They only showed urgency in the last 4-5 balls. Before that, they were content to hit it and get it. That meant that clearly they've already given up that race for run rate. That means if at any point in time, if Sunrisers Hyderabad wins that game, it's over. So both, I think, Kings 11 and KKR realize that Sunrisers Hyderabad winning, there's no point playing against that. Let's just go there and win, which means that they'll be supporting, every one of them will be in red and black tomorrow, sitting in front of the TV with RCB shirts. And
it would be a nice way to sign off as well. What do you think, Shaun?
Yeah, it would be good for them. But as you say, all they could control is winning the games. And when you start worrying about net run rate and getting ahead, that's when your game plan can go out the window and you can actually end up losing the games. But the point in case, and having been on the management staff, you do say to your players at the start of the tournament, when we're in a position that we might lose or whatever, just make sure you push it. Every run counts, go as far as you can, because sometimes they get into a situation, we've lost the game, they don't really care, but it ends up being net run rate. It's so often is it discussed in the last week of the RPL and has a big influence on KK Kings 11 will be very disappointed with their performance. I don't know where they go wrong. I think they're a very strategic team about the way they plot, even when it comes to their selections and what they like to do. And I almost feel like a strategic team, it'll take you halfway in the tournament. But at the back end of the tournament, you need to be getting performances from your individuals. There needs to be a bit of spontaneity. Planning does help. Yes, it settles the team down and gets them a nice platform laid. But at the back end of the tournament, you need guys showing some spunk, showing some innovative thinking in order to keep getting you over the line, keep winning the games. And I think maybe that's where they could just have a look at doing things a little bit differently.
Kings 11 Punjab is virtually out of this tournament. And they seem to have problems just putting it together towards the end.
They start really well.
Yeah.
I think they start well precisely for the reason that Shaun was talking about, that they plan well and they're tactically they've got all these things sorted out. But what happens is after a while, the other teams start catching up. So, if Ashwin, you see, the amount of video that analysts and teams see nowadays is not funny. So if Ashwin is bowling in a particular way, or if he's doing something, or if he's pacing a field in a particular way, they've been noticing, they've been watching. Now over 7, 8, 9 matches, it catches up with you. See, the big disappointment, 183 is not a bad score. The big problem was that nobody looked like getting a wicket. In fact, Shami was the only bowler who was at least sharp, 145, 146. He was giving the batsman something to think about. But if you look at the rest, what do they depend on? They depend on Murugan Ashwin and Captain Ashwin. They depend on those two guys to bowl them 8 overs. Look at what happened today. Ashwin goes for 38 and Murugan Ashwin goes for 24. He doesn't come back. I mean, he has 2 overs to go. So 62 between them. So that's the big problem out there. You have a problem when their spinners don't work. The third guy in that triad is Andrew Tye, who's meant to take pace off the ball, the highest wicket taker. The ball just sat up and was waiting to be hit.
Yeah, Tye does a good job when the situation is that the team's under pressure, they've lost wickets and he comes back and then you have to try and whack him from the outset. But when you're a settled side, and same with Curran, there aren't really X-factor bowlers who are going to just clean you up with an unplayable delivery. And I think that's sometimes where people miss the plot. They like the mix and match bowlers who mix things up. But in this format, a guy who can strike for you, like we saw from Shami, his kind of performance, you need more of those at times.
Let's talk a little bit about Chris Lynn. He seems to be doing very well as well, but somehow he's just overshadowed by the pure artistry of Shubman Gill.
Look, Lynn is a bash boy. Great hands, throws it.
Yeah.
And when the ball comes on, especially in the early overs, if you don't give him spin, he can hit almost anyone. Great hand-eye. Especially once he goes down the pitch, exactly like what Brendan used to do, they can walk down the pitch and they trust their hands and their reflexes to be good enough to hit you anywhere. So he's very good for them because of that. That's what he gives them. He may not give them that if they're going to go and play in Chennai or in pitches like that. But in somewhere here where the ball's even halfway coming on, he's great for you. But see, there's a difference today in the way those two batted. I mean, what was important for me was Shubman Gill was not the runs he got. It was the calmness with which he got them. It was the stillness. So, Ashwin, when he's, got whacked a couple of times, then he'll do all his tricks. He'll look at the ball, he'll move around a bit, he'll do it. Yeah. And you see this experienced international bowler, one of the best bowlers in the world, more than 300 test wickets, come at you like that. That guy was absolutely stock still.
Shubman, you're getting calls in the middle of the show.
No, that was again happened.
Joyda, at 11:15 you get calls. Who calls you at this hour?
It was again the program which somehow gets onto the score and it goes.
It's our program itself?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Please watch it. Please watch it. You should watch it too. I hope you're watching it right now. Let's talk about Chris Lynn coming back. He's been consistent in the second half of the tournament. What really brings out the best?
I think, even tonight, you have a look, he scored that 46 off 22 deliveries, but if you actually had to analyse the innings and look at the highlights, you'd probably see 3 or 4 lucky shots where he's top edged it and it's gone past the keeper, or inside edge and it's gone away for 4. It's the method in which he plays. He's not a guy who presents his bat straight. He gives himself a bit of an angle, likes to give himself room and almost bludgeon it. And with those guys, if they're going good, like you can see there, 54, 51, 82, 50, 43, they can be effective. But with that technique, the consistency is not going to be like a Gill, because Gill's got a good technique. He's got a technique that gets through balls when they're stopping, when it's nipping around. That's why your better players, someone like a David Warner, his technique is good. That's why he can bash it, but still be consistent, because he just holds his shape and goes to the basic fundamentals that's required for batting.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll just pick up on that, and that's exactly why I think right now what KKR is doing is the right combination up front. Because what happens is, that Lynn is also unorthodox, Narayan is also unorthodox. So both can, there are days when both get going, but if the odds are against it, because they're not conventional players. They will not defend the bad ball. They'll go at everything. So what happens as a result is, now you have a combination which is fantastic, because Shubman at one end is a more classical player. He'll give the good ball the respect it deserves, hit the bad ball, once in a while make himself into position, while Lynn can start throwing his hands at something. That combination, I think, is far better than 2 unstable guys on top. Though the day those 2 unstable got going, they could give you 106. But in the long term, over 5, 7, 8, 10 matches, I don't think that works out for them.
Just a question that I had. We've been talking about this whole thing of one superstar in the team, the captain in the team, a little bit being said between both of them. In that situation, how does a 20-year-old just fit in and still continue to do his things? Do you think someone's talking to him?
It says a lot for his character. You know, we just pick up things. I mean, I've never met the individual, but there was an interview done by, I'm trying to think who did it. I think it was Michael Slater. Could have said that he had done an interview with the young guy. And really impressed by his cricket maturity and his way of thinking. There are just some guys who see it from the right perspective. You know, how they've been raised, what teams they've played for, who's been their coach, who's been their mentor, who has ever guided them through. They don't allow this peripheral stuff to influence them. And he looks like a youngster who's just dead keen to play. At 21 or whatever he is, what do you want to do? You just want to play.
Yeah.
You don't want to know about the
People
politics that
the
goes
other
on behind the scenes, and you don't want to get involved in the management things. You just want to see ball, build a name for yourself, and that's what it looks like he's doing. And I'm sure he's not a party to those discussions. When they talk about the senior players, he won't be included. He'll just go for an extra net session and just go work on his game. And that's probably why his mind's in a good space compared to some of the other guys.
Joyda, you think Rahul Dravid has a slight amount of presence and change as well, considering he's coached him?
I think last 3-4 years what Rahul Dravid has done for Indian cricket. And it's a very interesting thing. When Dravid took the job of being the under-19 coach, he said that's where the true real coaching job is. See, when you do the senior team, you're managing players. What are you going to teach Virat Kohli about coaching? And in many places, the coach is generally simply not good enough technically in a lot of those areas to be able to do it. You manage them, you get specialists, and you do stuff. The real coaching happens between that 15 to 19. That age group is where the real coaching happens. And Dravid has done a fantastic job of that because A, he leads by example. So Dravid being there is possibly the best thing that can happen to Indian cricket. 3 years of Rahul Dravid, you know, in your career while growing as was the best thing that can happen to you. But look, still then, you know, give Dravid that credit, but even then Shubman Gill is special because, you know, you see a Prithvi Shaw there, he's a great player as well, very good player as well, Rishabh Pant as well, but they're different players. What the quality that does not come through from them is calmness. They're all talented in their own way, they're explosive in their own way. Shubman brings calm, and therefore what you have to look at and say is that there's probably a test place for him also at some point in this thing. The kind of the shot selection that he has, the test could also be an option for him, definitely.
Well, all heroes don't wear capes. That's true. Rahul Dravid won. And then I think in today's game it was Shubman Gill. And that's why he's our MPL hero of the day. Some great numbers there. Shaun, do you see him playing test cricket for India?
Yeah, I do down the line, definitely. I don't know what position he likes to bat, whether it's down the order, at the top of the order. And I must admit, I know there's a bit of discussion about the number 4 plus in the World Cup team. I mean,
add one more to the mix.
Yeah, put his name in. I know they gave him 2 opportunities, but sometimes you've just got to run with someone if you see something. It might be a big call to get him involved, but let me be assuring you guys that this won't be the last we'll see of him. I'm sure he'll get lots of runs at first-class international level. And as I said earlier, I think he's a real find for India.
This should have just been done by like a chit or a lottery system, no?
No, number 4, I was
almost like the green card in America. They should have applied the same thing here.
I told you, yesterday I checked it up after that, you know, one of our producers, Kollal, found it, that there's an Agatha Christie mystery called the Big 4. Okay. It's all about 4. Around 4, there's always a mystery. And my point is, at the end of the day, you'll probably see MS Dhoni will come into bat at 4. And then the question will be, who is India's number 5? And we'll just change everything again. Right.
Let's talk about the super team hero on MPL. You had a chance to choose your own team, and the winner is Bhavani Shankar. 381.25 points. Yeah. Wow.
But see, important thing. 381.25 is not bad, and Bhavani Shankar, you know who he was? He was Utpal Dutt in the film Golmaal. The man who said that he never trusted a man who didn't have a moustache. So I was delighted to see this Bhavani Shankar had a nice big moustache out there.
Oh, there you go. No trust.
There you go. He doesn't have one himself.
No, yes. He's got
a stubble.
No, isn't that a moustache?
It's a stubble.
I think he's growing one. I just want to believe he's
also, if you can just cut to wide camera, if you don't mind, for a bit, just to show the 3 of us. Can anybody trust this show?
Look, let me tell you one thing. At this point in time, for the last 102 years, America hasn't had a president who has a moustache or a beard. It's going out. It's just moving that way. I'm sorry. It's just the only people who are moving in the other direction are NBA players and the Indian cricket team. The Indian cricket team, basically everyone, if you don't have a beard, you can't get in. You know, Rahul for a long time.
Oh no, you forgot the sunglasses, you forgot the tattoos.
So now if Gill grows a moustache before the World Cup, they can pick him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Possibly.
it's a tight one, but he'll have to start
Possibly.
going now.
Or unless some sponsor comes up and says, just like ham of the beard, like I'm trying my best not to like use the exact hashtag. Okay, let's just take a look at the summary of this game. All right, let's just take a look at the summary of this game. Interesting one. This is what happened, gentlemen. Fair result in the end, you'd like to believe, Shaun?
Yeah, it was. I think Punjab gave themselves a real chance by that contribution of 55 of 24 by Curran. But in all honesty, once they picked up those 2 early wickets, Kolkata were in charge. And then, you know, you've got the firepower in the middle order for Kolkata. And once Gill gives you a good start at the top of the order, it really was going to be difficult for Kings 11. And we talked about the spinners had to play their part. It didn't seem like the ball was turning. It didn't seem like the ball was stopping. So it was always going to be difficult for them. And the best team on the day won.
Okay, now Joyda, KKR won today, but what has that done to the points table? It's very confusing.
No, I think it's not so confusing, because what happens is now KKR stays in the mix. At this point in time, I think Punjab is now dropped off, because even if they win their last match, they just cannot do it. What happens out there is now KKR basically have to win their last match against Bombay, and hope that Hyderabad drops points at this place.
Bangalore, tomorrow.
Bangalore, yeah. And hope that's it. That's all they need to do.
Rajasthan as well, right?
No, if they win theirs, Rajasthan is out. Rajasthan is 13. Rajasthan qualifies if Kolkata drops points against Bombay.
Yeah, and Hyderabad lose as well.
Hyderabad lose as well. That's the only scenario. Basically, Rajasthan has to pray for people to lose.
I have a very innocent question. You've run a team.
Yeah.
What does the Rajasthan Royals management do now? Do they start booking tickets for people? Because closer you buy, business class tickets are very expensive.
So this is a standard problem with every IPL team, because it happens even through the eliminators. It happens.
Yeah, because you keep them here also, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Hotels are also expensive.
No, hotels are not that expensive. What happens is once a team loses, most guys, especially international guys, want to go back. It's done. It's a long season. The IPL is a very tough season. So you've spent 55, 60 days here. You've done the camp. You've lost out. And especially if you've lost, you just want to get there. So you will have guys, there are at least 2-3 guys. I know Raju for KKR, other people will be sitting on the phones all night talking to travel agents and booking flights. I've seen a situation where we've lost a match, finished at 11:30, 12 at night, and by 5 o'clock, at least 3 international players have left. So that's a standard problem that happens.
And if they have it, I'm assuming these are refundable tickets.
A lot of money gets wasted as well. But, at that point in time, if a guy has played 60 days for you, you're not going to say that, this ticket's a bit more expensive, this ticket's a bit cheaper. They normally
And also, I think you've also a bit of understanding, because often, like now, there's a World Cup coming up. So they'll go home for maybe a week.
Correct.
Or
That's all
10 days. That's all they get at home. They've got to get their lives in order, sort things out. So it actually really is good that a lot of the franchises are very understanding. They want their players to give their all. But once they're done, once they're out of the tournament, they're very accommodating as getting guys home.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that they do one thing. South Africa does one thing really well, which I definitely want the Indian team to do. Which is that South Africa actually gives their cricketers 2 passports. They allow them more than 1 passport. So with Morne Morkel, I remember, I think he had to go for a tournament just after the IPL. And he had a second passport so that, 1 passport could go to get stamped and the other passport he travelled with. He got me into a lot of trouble in Dubai airport because he showed me one of the passports and it didn't have a India stamp on it, but he was just fooling around. But that's one thing I recommend for the India team. Why can't we get our players a couple of passports? It just makes life so much easier for them.
Right. Are your tickets refundable tickets, or you have to go?
No, I have to go.
Okay, so let's quickly move on to the next 2 games then. That's happening tomorrow. Let's take a look at the first game tomorrow. It's going to be Delhi Capitals versus the Rajasthan Royals. We just spoke about the tickets now.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the game itself now. Delhi, do you think they're going to try and consolidate their position further? Or go easy?
No, they have to. They have to, because now what's happened is clearly whoever's coming in 4th place is out of it. So 3 guys are fighting for number 1 and 2. Number 1 and 2 is a really big one, because you won 1 match, you're straight into the finals. If you're number 3 and 4, you have to win 2 matches to reach the finals. So now they'll be saying that, boss, if we can whack Rajasthan at home, get our run rate up, and Mumbai lose their last match or go down on run rate in the next match, then we are 1 and 2 with Chennai and we go through. So that's what they'll be looking for. So it's an important match for them. Rajasthan will be saying, I'm keeping my hopes alive as long as possible. I win this, get on 13. I'm not bothered about run rate. Those 2 guys lose, I'm in. So everyone has something to play with, and I think that's really important, that tomorrow's game, both teams have a lot to play for. It'll be interesting how they turn out, though, with Rabada not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a class player, and there's their squad. I think the real problem for them, and we saw it in the last game, didn't we? They bowled 17 good overs, and in the last 3 there was no Rabada in their unit, and Dhoni, made hay while the sun shined. Or it wasn't the sun; it was the floodlights were on at this stage. But he smashed him, and I think that's where they really are going to miss Rabada. He's picked up wickets in the early overs, but he's done a really good job at the back end. So they're going to have to be getting Morris and Bolt to try and repeat their exploits and see if they can improve on what they did last time around. But I think they're in a better space than Rajasthan. I think they've played better cricket. They're going to be at home. They know what to expect. Rajasthan sort of limped into the position where they could maybe, through lack of all luck, still qualify. And I think with them losing some of their international players, they're probably not in the best place. So I would think Delhi should have the advantage here.
We'll just take a look at the Rajasthan Royals playing 11 as well. Actually, their team itself, because I know that even they're going to be missing a couple of players. Steve Smith isn't around. How much is that going to affect them?
Surprisingly, what's happened is that they've had this huge, regeneration, as you call it. Their bowlers, when they had their top bowlers like Jofra and all, they weren't doing so well. Suddenly what's happened out here is O'Shane Thomas and Varun Aaron have given them something with the ball, seriously given them something with the ball. The other interesting thing that's happened is Riyan Parag, this 17-year-old kid has contributed, he's bowled a bit, he's batted maturely. The only thing is, who's going to be the captain again? So now you have
reports say Ajinkya Rahane is going to be the captain.
So Ajinkya Rahane was the captain. Okay,
he's going to come back. Yes.
Yeah. So he had a situation where the pressure was too much on him, or for whatever reason they removed him. The point is he's played brilliantly, not as a captain. He's played brilliantly with the pressure off his back. He's really been a different batsman the last 3-4 innings. Now you've gone back to a situation where you're putting that monkey on his back again. So I'm sure
so if not him, who's back
it has to be. You have to go. There's no one looking at that list. There's no one else to go to. Maybe just the fact that he's performed well takes a little bit of the pressure off his shoulders, because he would have been worried about his performance through the IPL. But he's had 2 or 3 good games now. So I just think they might only have to play 2 overseas pros. I mean, I don't know if you're going to bring Turner in. It's not like he's been in massively good form throughout this IPL. So you might just see the 2 and maybe they go for another local guy. But that's why I just feel if you look at the squads, the teams that they could possibly pick, you would think Delhi would have the advantage here.
Do you see Ashton Turner just walking in and filling in that gap there?
Ashton Turner's, it took him about 4 innings to get a run in the IPL. He actually got 3 ducks before he got a run in the IPL. No, really, exactly what he said. This is as good a case as any for saying that if I don't have a great international pro out there, let me just stay with what I have and let me do well with that. Similarly with Delhi, I really think on the conditions that they're playing tomorrow, I think Ishant should definitely get a bowl ahead of Trent Bolt, because Ishant does something to them. Ishant knows this surface very well. Again, Delhi is his surface. Firozshah Kotla is his home surface for playing Ranji Trophy. And remember, because he's not been in the India's one-day plans at all, he's played quite a lot of domestic cricket. So he knows this pitch upside down. He knows what it does. He's a senior pro. I might, even give him that, and instead of somebody like a Trent Bolt bringing a chemo ball, somebody who takes this thing off the ball.
They might also, with the performance of Shaw up front, they might decide to give Munro a go.
Yeah.
And maybe Morris will miss out as well and say to him, listen, you go at the top of the order. We've struggled to get off to a decent start. Here's your opportunity. So, they've got a bit to work with, whereas I think Rajasthan almost just pick who you've got.
11 fit boys, 11 bodies.
And now, before we fit into the next game, I've been told you have something interesting to say about Dinesh Karthik.
So Karthik, very interesting. He just turned around and said in the press conference afterwards that I'm normally not so animated, but I had something to say and I was upset, and I thought it was time to tell it then and there. So for him to show emotion, and I think it's interesting that the fact that he thought about it. It's not that it came out just straight off this thing. He thought about it and he said, look, I'm angry. I want to tell the team, and I'm not scared to tell the team even when the cameras are picking it up. So as much as it was a message to the team, it was also a message to the rest of the world that this is the man in charge and this is what he wants, and when he's not upset with the team, he's sending a message. Interesting. I mean,
nice to know what he said.
Yeah, that would have been interesting as well.
But yeah, but I think he also spoke very, I mean, he was tactical. He was obviously not happy with what was happening at that course. So he was suggesting some sort of course correction. Whatever he said, at least it worked. You know, that's the bright side of it.
You're multi-talented now. You can chat here with us and still hear a press conference.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
We have people in our production room who...
The long and short of it is mard ko dard hota hai. Everybody reacts. Right?
Yeah, the man was hurting. Heart, as the good Bengali would say, it is hearting.
Sir, it is not just the Bengalis who are hearting. Even we Bengalurians are hearting very much because we haven't had a great season, but we are playing tomorrow against Sunrisers Hyderabad at home, Chinnaswamy Stadium. I know the entire Kolkata, city is going to be cheering. You're going to be cheering. Abhideep is going to be cheering. I've said it like for the second time. Bengaluru is going to be cheering. Which way is this going to go? Because I know RCB is out, but they're still important in the tournament.
I think they're important. They're spoilers, and I think that Virat said that very
well. You don't call them spoilers.
Yeah, they're spoilers. They spoil other people's chances. And that
sounds great. Yeah.
I'm not calling them spoil sports. I'm saying they're spoilers.
Yeah.
They can go and do things, and because they can play with a lot of freedom. And what they're looking and probably telling themselves is, one is I want to end on a high if possible. Two is let me try out what is going to be my team for next year. Who are the guys? We played now 13 matches, what is the combination, what are the kind of combinations, and it's the important thing, who do I retain, who do I not? Like Klaasen, I don't think has given them anything. Stoinis is gone.
He's gone back, yeah.
So I don't think Saudi has given them anything at all as well.
Do you see Hetmyer coming back, maybe for at least one last game, because he played in the first few, did nothing?
Yeah. I would actually like to see Shivam Dube back, because I still think he hasn't got enough chances. I'd like to see Shivam Dube back. If India saw something in Washington Sundar enough to play him for at least 5-6 games, he's definitely not somebody who should be sitting on a bench in a domestic tournament. He obviously has something out there. For some reason, it's not fitting in with the rest of it, but I'd bring in talent out here because I have nothing to lose. At this point in time, all I have to do is throw the kitchen sink at Sunrisers Hyderabad.
Yeah, I think if you had to actually ask the Sunrisers who's probably the least team they'd like to face at this stage, would be RCB, because they've got nothing to lose. They want to end off the tournament well, and they've got the firepower. They started to show some real form before the rain interrupted match. They'd won a good few on the trot, and they're starting to play some good cricket. And a lot of the international guys will probably have their flight booked at 2 or 3 in the morning. So they'll be coming to
non-refundable tickets again. Yes.
Yeah, they'll be coming to say, listen, we're really excited. Let's get in here. Let's play this game as best we can, and put them under pressure. So I would also, if I had to pick one of these two, I think no. In fact, Sunrisers have played the better cricket. I wouldn't count them out, but I think it should be a good contest, and Sunrisers are going to have to play their best cricket.
Little birdie tells me they've also planned an elaborate goodbye thing to the fans and stuff like that. And I don't think you want to do something elaborate once you've lost a match. So I'm sure they owe it to the fans as well.
Yeah, they all want to go out in a high. They'd have seen what Dhoni's done and all that, and all those visuals look
so cool. Tennis ball, sign, tennis racket, whack into the stands.
No, I think it's fantastic, and I think more and more what IPL teams see. Remember, every team gives money and gives gifts to the people like the groundsmen, the staff that support
the curators,
on the last regular day of the tournament.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that all the teams like to do, but so far it's not been seen on television, not been seen in public, and I think it's a good thing to show it to the public, to say that
we've seen it
so many of these people also do these things. Yeah.
I guess there are a lot more people who really work towards making the game really come alive.
Absolutely.
And the fans lap it up. Great. Let's just talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad now. Let's take a look at their lineup. Is this the side that's going to keep them in the hunt?
No change. I think they were pretty good the other night. Just needed to squeak over the line against Mumbai Indians, but didn't manage to do so. Why would you change anything? I don't think you need to change anything at all. I think that's a nice unit, and you're now giving the guys a run, and they're feeling pretty settled.
Yeah. Also, somebody like a Guptill. This is, again, we are lucky these are the two surfaces on which he would like to bat on, and ball coming on. It's a small ground.
Smaller ground.
He can also hit it hard, so he'd be looking for a big one. I think they're a very good, well-coached, well-put-together side. It would be a tragedy if they were to go out at this stage in the tournament. But, you're playing against a team that has A.B. de Villiers and Virat Kohli. So,
I think also one of the team talk might be, listen, guys, let's just have a look at some of our players who are here. Johnny Bairstow came and gave his all. They managed to win 5 or 6 games in combination with David Warner, who also gave us he's top of the run charts. Come on, guys, let's actually put an effort in for them. If it's for no one else, it's just for those guys. They gave us a real opportunity. They produced their best cricket for us. We haven't really played our best yet, but it's an opportunity to get those guys into the knockout phases, and we need to do it for them because, as I say, those two were superb. And that's what a team effort's about. You know, when other guys aren't there, the others stand up.
And the contribution shows as well, because if they win tomorrow on net run rate, they could actually go right through.
Yeah. No. If they win tomorrow, they're through. There's nobody who's going to stop
What
them.
happens to the others then?
Because what happens is their run rate, they're already at some 0.4 or 0.5. I think they're more than 0.5. There they are. 653. So if they win, it's going to be better than that. There's no way even Kolkata, if they win their last match, will catch up from 0.173 to catch up about 0.5 on that board. It's like 150 runs.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. All right. Just like it's impossible for them to catch up on the run rate, it's a little impossible to catch up with your questions. Very tough questions you ask, Joyda, on this joy factor.
No. The reason I ask tough question is because the day I ask a normal, decent human question, I get trolled mercilessly that Joyda has gone old. I'm old. Already. I've lost my memory, I've lost my...
I found cat fur on your shirt today.
Yeah. So, look, so every time I get mercilessly trolled, I said, okay, I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at you guys. They still answer it, but at least, the rest of them troll.
They take time to like handle that kitchen sink. Okay, let's just see what kitchen sink was thrown at you today. The question asked was this.
If a particular list in Test cricket starts with Matthew Hayden, then Brian Lara, Mahela Jayawardene, Michael Clarke, whose name is surprisingly at number 7? And the answer is, these are the highest test scores by position. Hayden as an opener, Lara's 400 was obviously in second place. Then there was Jayawardene, then we had Clarke at 329. Bradman scored 270 batting at number 7 against England in 1937. It's a strange thing. Of all the batting positions, that's the only batting position where his record is stayed. And the interesting part is that record happened because the pitch was very sticky. So they literally almost batted in reverse order,
Sure.
So as a bowler, he's not happy.
Not happy with the
When
shot?
it's flat, we don't get promoted up the batting order, do we? Hey? Gee.
All right, let's see who's won this now. We asked you to send in your answers using that hashtag Cricbuzz Live, and the winner is...
Kaustav Pathak for the 374th time, I suspect. He's in England, he's a lawyer, and he keeps winning these. I don't know what... He has a twisted mind, obviously, if he answers questions like this, but yeah.
Well done, lawyer, apparently. He's not a lawyer.
He's studying to be a lawyer, or is it accounts? We'll find.
Both don't get into my head, so it's fine. Whatever he's doing, he's studying. Good for him. All right. With that, it's about time we say goodbye to a very special guest that we've had on this year's Cricbuzz Live. I've watched the broadcast sitting at home while RCB was losing. And I must say I've enjoyed looking at you every moment here. Thank you very much, Shaun, for joining us. And you've obviously hung out with him more, so you can kiss him and say good things. I'll just close my eyes.
After the Khalil Ahmed kisses, we've just decided that all that's not going to happen. This is a family show, and we're not going to do this. The kissing is out.
Kissing is out. Joy, any like parting words from you, and then we'll get Shaun to...
Shaun has been a god for a long, long time.
Yeah. Everyone's a fan.
He's a
legend. He's bhai.
He's bhai.
Yeah, well, I must just say it's been great to be on MPL Presents Cricbuzz Combox and MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live. I've enjoyed every moment of it. It's been good fun. And I hope the rest of the tournament goes off well. And I suppose it would be wrong of me not to pick a winner of the RPL before I leave.
Please.
Oh, please, yeah.
And then where's my couch? I'll have to sit on my couch if I get it right.
Send it to South Africa. We'll send it to South Africa with you.
If I get this right.
And the winner is...
And the winner is... Heart says Mumbai Indians. Head says Chennai.
Okay.
Okay.
So, are you going with your head or your heart?
Semi-final. Mumbai Indians.
Okay.
Mumbai Indians.
Mumbai Indians it is.
Too early for you to call it?
Too early for me to call it. I'm going to go through this a lot. I've got lots and lots of time.
Okay. Just cut that one part of the clip and keep it. Just keep it, and then we'll keep playing it again and again on loop. Right? Thank you very much, Shaun.
Sure.
It's been a pleasure. Truly. Have a safe flight back.
Thank you.
What time's your flight at?
4 something.
Refundable tickets?
Thank goodness there was no Super Over.
All right. On that note, thank you very much for joining us on MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll be back again tomorrow to discuss the games that happen tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. in English. Join us. Thank you.